Hello everyone. I hope this message finds you fit and fine. Welcome to our Lakshmikant series. In our previous class, we were talking about Prime Minister. Today, we need to talk about Union Council of Minister. Nature of questions from this section are based on provisions which are mentioned in our Constitution. It means, moreover, direct in nature. We are going to understand these provisions in step-by-step manner in this video. And thereafter, I am going to present some MCQs for you to attempt in this class. Now, union, it means we are talking about union government. Council of Minister. Why our constitutional framers use the word Council of Minister, not Group of Minister? One reason is, when you use the word council, the members here are having responsibility to discuss, deliberate important matters, and the outcome of this discussion is going to have some impact on policies. It is moreover formal in nature. But when we use the word group, it can be used in many senses, maybe informal senses. Okay? So our Constitution uses the word Council of Minister. Okay? Consider, here we have Prime Minister. Prime Minister need ministers for effective functioning of government, right? Prime Minister need various departments to be headed by these ministers so that Prime Minister can ask what you have done. I have given you this responsibility, right? So some people, means some ministers, are considered of inner circle of Prime Minister. Important portfolios, important ministries are given to these people. So these ministers are considered as minister of cabinet rank. Cabinet ministers. Okay. Thereafter, there are other ministers as well. Union Minister of State. And then there is third circle, we call them deputy ministers. Okay. Although, in place of deputy minister, often the word used is Union Minister of State. And senior to this Union Minister of State, then we use the word Union Minister of State independent charge here. So what is this? We are going to understand it. Now, so we adopted this pattern from Britain, and it is headed by Prime Minister. The features of parliamentary system with respect to minister are not that much extensively or detailed manner. They are not mentioned in our Constitution. Specifically, some provisions are mentioned in Article 74 and 75. 74 mentions that there shall be a Council of Minister headed by Prime Minister to aid and advise Honorable President. Right? Now, Article 75, it mentions about appointment, tenure, responsibility, qualification, oath, salary, allowances, etc. So whenever it comes to Council of Minister, you just need to remember two articles, Article 74, Article 75. Why? Because UPSC nowadays in some statements play on these facts, right? It's not like you have to cram every article, right? Specifically means which are in news, right? Now, Article 74, as I told you, there shall be a Council of Minister headed by PM to aid and advise Honorable President. Right? There's a debate on what is the meaning of this aid and advice. Is it mandatory or this is just an advice? President has an option whether to choose or reject. So this discussion was taken up at Supreme Court level, and as of now we have seen that even our Parliament has amended in our Constitution, 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act, 44th Constitutional Amendment Act deals with the definition, the meaning of aid and advice. During the Indira Gandhi time, she amended the Constitution and she said that this advice is binding. Later, when Morarji Desai formed the government, so he amended by 44th Constitutional Amendment Act, and he said at least for once, President can actually, send back this advice for reconsideration. But when it is again given to President, now President is bound to accept this advice. So means one chance was given by 44th Constitutional Amendment Act. Clear? The advice tendered by ministers cannot be inquired into any court. Please remember it, right? To give them you can say, an immunity, right? Article 75, what are the other provisions? Now, appointment. So ministers are appointed by Honorable President on the advice of Prime Minister. And this advice, which is given by Prime Minister to President, is binding. Because Council of Minister is Prime Minister's Council of Minister, right? That is why this much independence need to be given to Prime Minister, right? Now, when it comes to number of ministers, so in our original constitution, there was no limit. And that is why some governments actually made, so many people as ministers. So now you would think, what is the harm? Harm is then all of these people need to be given some, government accommodation, bungalow, car, and other facilities. So don't you think it would be, you can say, burden on the government exchequer, taxpayers' money? And apart from this, if there are so many ministers, then there will be a coordination issue, right? So now we have 15% limit. It means 15% of Lok Sabha members. Means total number of seats in Lok Sabha, you can have 15% members as ministers. And when I am saying minister, I am talking about Council of Minister, all kind of minister, right? So now a member of either house, now we are talking about anti-defection. If a particular minister is disqualified on behalf of anti-defection. Now my question here from you, can you just mention in comment box by which Constitutional Amendment Act anti-defection provisions were added in our Constitution? 10th schedule in our Constitution talks about anti-defection law. By which amendment this was added? Answer is 52. And thereafter, this 91st Constitutional Amendment Act 2003, this says that if a particular person is actually disqualified as a member of house, whether Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, then there will be some limitation on this person becoming minister. Otherwise, what would happen? Let me give you one idea. In 1965 to 1971, data says around 4,000 legislators who were elected, whether a state legislature or union legislature, out of them around 50% of these MLAs, MPs, they defected into other party. When I say defected, it means they changed the party. Now some of you would say, sir, what is the harm? There should be freedom, whichever party they want to join. But my friends, if these legislators join different party, then it can create political turmoil. It can actually reduce the majority, turn majority into minority of the union government. So then government will fall. Then we need fresh elections. So don't you think it will harm the continuity in policy making? It will create extra burden on election machinery, right? So that is why, to bring political stability, this 52nd Constitutional Amendment Act 10th schedule anti-defection law was added. But we wanted to actually put a curb on these people getting appointed as ministers. So for a specific period, you cannot be appointed as minister if you are disqualified in anti-defection law. That is what I am saying in 1991st Constitutional Amendment Act. Clear? Minister hold office during the pleasure of President. Who appoints minister? President, right? And who can remove minister? President, right? Council of Ministers shall be collectively responsible to Lok Sabha. Please remember it. In 2014 prelims paper, there was one statement that Union Minister, Council of Ministers, is responsible to Parliament. But it is Lok Sabha. Because Union Council of Ministers is there, they are ministers because their party is enjoying majority in Lok Sabha. The point they lose in majority, their government will fall, right? President shall administer oath. So who gives oath to these ministers? President gives oath. Okay. A minister who is not a member of either house, Parliament, so that person can become actually minister for 6 months. Consider, you are watching this video and you are above, say, 25 years of age. Although Constitution has not mentioned specifically that in which category the 6 months criteria will work. It simply says that even if you are not a member of Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, you can be appointed as minister right? But within 6 months, you have to become member of either house. If you don't become, then your ministership, it will go, right? You have to resign, you will be dismissed. Salaries and allowances of ministers shall be determined by Parliament, please remember, right? It is not like specific amount of salary and allowances of minister is mentioned in our constitution. No, it is decided by Parliament. Let's talk about 77 article. Conduct of business of the Government of India. All executive action of the Government of India shall be taken in the name of President. We discussed in President chapter also. Orders and instruments are made and executed in his name shall be authenticated in such manner as may be specified by rules. And who is going to make the rules? President is going to make the rules. I discussed in President chapter as well. Further, the validity of an order of instrument which is so authenticated shall not be called into question on the grounds that is not instrument made executed by President. There is an immunity. President shall make the rules for the more convenient transaction of the business of the Government of India and for allocating among ministers of the said business. Now, some of you might be thinking, so this we have read in President chapter as well, why it is mentioned here? Because of this last point. It means portfolio decision is actually taken by Prime Minister, that which minister is going to be given which department, which ministry. But actually officially this allocation is done, allocation of business is done by Honorable President. Okay. Article 78, duties of Prime Minister, we discussed in Prime Minister chapter as well. I told you Prime Minister is like a link or bridge between President and Council of Minister. I also told you that if President want information with respect to any legislature, any legislation, any bill which was in consideration in Council of Minister, then Prime Minister is bound to give such information to Honorable President, right? We discussed it. Duties of PM of the President so requires submit the consideration of Council of Minister any matter which has not been considered by the Council. Any matter which was told that it will be considered, but if it is not considered, then Prime Minister is bound to give such information, such report to President. President can ask. Article 88, right of ministers with respect to houses. Consider, you are a member of Rajya Sabha, okay, and you are appointed as Minister for Home Affairs. Home Ministry is under you. Now tell me, do you think that you will be allowed to take part in the proceedings of Lok Sabha as well? You would say, sir, you just told me that I am member of Rajya Sabha. If I am member of Rajya Sabha and I am given ministerial berth, and I am asking that can you actually present in the proceedings of Lok Sabha? How is it possible? If I am Rajya Sabha member, I will be present in Rajya Sabha. But this is different in case of ministers. In case of minister, it may be possible, since you are having home ministry, some member from Lok Sabha want to ask some question, and that question has been submitted to Lok Sabha Speaker. Sir, I want to ask this question with regard to internal security from Home Minister. Then you will receive a letter from Lok Sabha Secretariat that, sir, you are Minister for Home Affairs and our Lok Sabha member want to ask this question from you, because it is connected to your department. You have to come. So you can take part in the proceedings of both houses. Okay. So every minister shall have the right to speak and take part in proceedings of either house. Clear? There can be a statement kind of question from here. Please remember, any joint sitting of the House, committee of the Parliament of which they may be named as member. But please remember, purpose of these parliamentary committees is to keep a check on executive, to keep a check on these ministries, right? So that is why even if you are invited there, so you are not going to vote in this committee. If ministers are given power to vote in these committees, then don't you think it will compromise the transparency, right? Transparency to keep a check on these ministries, right? So this is what I have mentioned here. Lakshmikant mentions obviously. Nature of advice of minister. Now, I told you 42 and 44th Amendment Act, they were dealing with the definition of aid and advice. 42nd said advice is binding. 44 said let's give one chance to the Honorable President to give back this advice, right? Now it is quite clear to you. Please remember 42 and 44th are dealing with Council of Minister advice to President. So as of now, for once President can give back, and the second time President has to accept. 1971, Supreme Court held that even after the resolution of Lok Sabha, means even if Lok Sabha dissolves, then it is not like Council of Minister will go home. It will not be like there will be no Council of Minister in India. There will be a caretaker government. And why Supreme Court said this? Supreme Court said, since Article 74 says there shall be a Council of Minister headed by PM to aid and advise President. It means at every point of time, executive actions by President should be based on aid and advice of Council of Minister. Right? Does not cease to hold office. Article 74 is mandatory. Okay? And therefore, the President cannot exercise executive power. Like I explained this to you, without the aid and advice of Council of Minister, any exercise of executive power without aid and advice will be considered as unconstitutional, because as per Article 74. Is it clear to you now? Right? When it comes to aid and advice, please remember 74, 42, 44 Constitutional Amendment Act. Clear? In 1974, now Supreme Court elaborated further. The court held that wherever the Constitution requires satisfaction of the President, so the meaning of word satisfaction of President is not individual satisfaction of the President. It means satisfaction of the Council of Minister. Such is the importance of Council of Minister. Clear? Now, appointment of ministers, I told you, PM gives the advice to the President, then President appoints. Usually the members of Parliament, either Lok Sabha or Raj Sabha, are appointed as ministers. Even if you are not member of Lok Sabha, Raj Sabha, you can be appointed, but you can be there for 6 months. Right? Now, question is, whether nominated members can also be appointed as minister? Nominated member of Raj Sabha. So there is no actually clear-cut, you can say, limitation, or you can say Supreme Court means Constitution has not said this. Nominated members cannot be appointed as minister. So if it is not said it like this, the Constitution is not saying it, it means this can be done. Right? A person who is not a member of either House of Parliament can also be appointed as minister, but within 6 months. 6 months, this I discussed in Prime Minister chapter also, become a member of either House and either elected or nominated. Right? Otherwise, he ceases to be a minister or she ceases to be a minister. Within 6 months, you have to become member of either House, elected or nominated. Clear? Oath is given by President. Now, in 1990, Mr. Devi Lal, so he took oath of Deputy Prime Minister from Honorable President. So some legal luminaries of the time, they said that since our Constitution has not mentioned any post such as Deputy Prime Minister, then this oath-taking ceremony is unconstitutional. So on this point, Supreme Court said, no, there is nothing unconstitutional, because Deputy Prime Minister position is descriptive in nature. It means it is descriptive, whether mentioned in Constitution or not, it is just describing one thing. Although Deputy Prime Minister will be there to actually support Prime Minister, will be part of Council of Minister. So you should consider that Deputy Prime Minister is part of Council of Minister. Salaries and allowances, I told you, they are decided by Parliament. Determined by Parliament. A minister gets salary as payable to a member of Parliament. But since you are a minister, you are also given additional allowances. For example, free accommodation, travelling allowance, medical facilities, etc. Some additional allowances are given. Base salary remains same. Responsibility of minister. So we use two words here, individual responsibility and collective responsibility. When I say collective responsibility, it means these ministers are collectively, jointly responsible to Lok Sabha, because majority factor of Lok Sabha is mandatory. They swim or sink together, right? If no confidence motion get passed in Lok Sabha, it means that now they are not having confidence of the House. Otherwise, how could a no confidence motion get passed? Because you have majority in the House, more than 50% members are yours. So how can more than 50% people say this, that we reject this government? So it clearly means that you don't have majority. So that is why they can sync together. When the Lok Sabha passes no confidence motion against Council of Ministers, all ministers have to resign, including the ministers who are from Rajya Sabha. Now there can be a question here. In this case, tell me, do you think, say, if a particular member is member of Rajya Sabha and that member is, say, minister, so after this resignation, is it mandatory that that person need to resign from Rajya Sabha membership also, or that person will resign only from ministership? What do you think? Answer is only from minister position. Means this person will remain as Rajya Sabha member. Okay. Now it is the duty of every minister to stand by cabinet decisions. Cabinet decisions. As I told you, cabinet is the inner circle. So real power lies with them. They take the policy decisions and they are communicated. These decisions are communicated to various members of Council of Ministers, and now these ministers has to agree. If you do not agree, then you have a choice. Choice is resign. For example, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, C.D. Deshmukh, Arif Muhammad Khan, these ministers actually resigned from the post of minister just because they were not agreeing with the decision of their government. Arif Muhammad Khan is, as of now, Governor of Kerala. Individual responsibility. I told you two responsibilities are there. Individual responsibility because they are working on the pleasure of President. At any point of time, if Prime Minister advises, then President can send a letter, now you are not minister, right? Dismiss. The President removes minister only on the advice of Prime Minister. It's not like any day now President thinks, oh, this particular minister is not working good. Then it's not like President on his own cannot remove. Okay? Because Council of Minister is of Prime Minister. President can remove a minister even at a time when Council of Minister enjoys the confidence in the Lok Sabha. Okay? Please remember it. Why? Because here President can remove a minister. We are not saying President can actually remove Council of Minister. Council of Minister cannot be removed by Honorable President till the time this Council of Minister enjoys majority in Lok Sabha, majority support in Lok Sabha. But individual minister can be removed in between because Prime Minister can recommend, right? No legal responsibility is there. It means that there is no provision in the Constitution that the system for legal responsibility of minister. The decisions which are taken, the advice which you are given, now this is actually beyond, you can say it cannot be questioned in the court. Now some of you might be thinking, sir, does it mean no matter how much corruption a minister does, there will be no legal responsibility? No, we are not talking about it. We are talking about the functions which minister has to do in official capacity as mentioned in Constitution. Anything which is of malefied intention, obviously that can be questioned in court. If you have done some corruption, that can be questioned in court, right? It is not required that an order of the President for a public should be countersigned by minister. So our process is not like if President has signed, now it need to be countersigned by minister. It's not like this. Actually, in our departments, in our ministries, when an order is being issued by a minister, so minister will actually have a noting in the file in the name of Honorable President, such decisions are being taken, and then this minister is going to sign it. No need to route every file to the President. Composition of Council of Ministers. As I told you, there are three categories of ministers: Cabinet Ministers, Minister of State, and Deputy Ministers. At the top of all these, Prime Minister is the supreme head, and you know, after that there are Cabinet Ministers. Cabinet Ministers had important ministries, for example, Home, Defence, Finance, External Affairs, etc. It may be possible that Prime Minister decides that now Power Minister is going to be given the status of Cabinet Minister. After some time, Prime Minister can say, now I'm not giving Power Minister as status of Cabinet Minister. I want to give this person a status of Union Minister of State, independent charge. So such discretion is with Prime Minister. Okay. So the members who are part of cabinet, so cabinet is the real powerhouse. They are the one who actually take important policy decisions, be it which kind of bill which need to be presented by this government in this Lok Sabha or Raj Sabha, or foreign policy decisions, important issues of which our society is facing, in which government intervention is required. So important decisions are taken by cabinet. Their role is important. Then comes the Minister of State. So here the word state does not need not to be connected with state of Uttar Pradesh provinces. No. Union Minister of State, it means they are below cabinet ministers. The Minister of State can either be given independent charge or just attached to certain cabinet minister to support that particular cabinet minister. What does it mean? If independent charge word is used, Minister of State independent charge, it means that although you are not cabinet minister, but you will have some departments, ministry for which you will be solely responsible. Considerable amount of power is given. But when we don't use this word I, just Union Minister of State, it means you will be supporting some cabinet minister. You will be working as a union minister. Some duties will be given to you and you have to perform those duties. So in both the cases, work under supervision, guidance, as I told you, in relation with their ministries, department as cabinet ministers. However, they are not members of the cabinet and do not attend the cabinet meetings. Means Minister of State will not attend the cabinet meetings until unless they are specifically invited for particular agenda. Okay. Deputy ministers, sometimes this Minister of State, those who are not given independent charge, they are there just to support some senior ministers. They're also called as deputy ministers, right? Because here we had this division of independent charge and not having independent charge. So they are actually not given independent charge. They are there to support cabinet ministers or for specific departments, right? Then we have this term parliamentary secretaries. So parliamentary secretaries are considered junior most position, although they are not officially called minister because they are not working with specific department. They are just there to support a particular minister in parliament related function. For example, parliament time to time send letter to various ministries that these questions need to be answered, right? It may be possible that minister is deciding that, oh, I need to present this bill in this session. So in all these works, these parliamentary secretaries can support this minister. They are the members of the last category of Council of Ministers, which is also known as ministry. They have no department under their control, no department, as I told you, attached to the senior minister and assist them in discharging their parliamentary duties, as I told you. Okay. So now what is the difference between cabinet and Council of Ministers? Let's sum up things. When I say Council of Ministers, it is wider body, because within Council of Ministers you have these cabinet minister, Minister of State independent charge, Minister of State, right? Then deputy ministers. So cabinet is a smaller body. When it comes to Council of Ministers, they have three categories, but when it comes to this is just cabinet ministry, but the powerful one. It does not meet as a body to transact some business, right? It means it's not like Council of Ministers is going to meet and then they are going to decide on government policies. No, cabinet do that. So it may be possible that some of you might not be able to read this. So this PDF will be available in this Telegram group Shashank Tyagi for you. So you can just download it and this is available in your Lakshmikant as well. So please open your Lakshmikant meanwhile. Okay. Now, so cabinet actually take the important decisions and cabinet then communicate to the Council of Ministers, these decisions are taken and you have to do that. So it means all powers they have in theory, but they have the real power. Functions are determined by cabinet because cabinet, I told you, they take the decision and they communicate to the Council of Ministers. Implement the decision taken by the cabinet. Now, Council of Ministers is a constitutional body, specifically mentioned in 74 and qualification and this tenure part and salary allowances. This mention that these details are mentioned in Article 75. But when it comes to cabinet, cabinet word was not used in our original constitution. Okay, if I ask whether the cabinet word is used as of now, yes, it is used as of now. It is used in Article 352, national emergency. Actually, this word was used by 44th Constitutional Amendment Act, because Morarji Desai said in Indira Gandhi's time this national emergency was imposed, and even ministers themselves were not aware that emergency is getting imposed, because this word, this Council of Ministers will advise, was taken lightly because it was not clear. So explicitly, Morarji Desai government, they explicitly, made it clear that cabinet will actually, in written form, will communicate to the president that there are circumstances where national emergency need to be imposed, right? So their cabinet word is used. Okay, it enforces the collective responsibility. It is collective responsible to the lower house, means Lok Sabha. So it is collectively responsible, but who enforces it? Cabinet enforces it, because real power to actually drive these Council of Ministers, real power lies with this cabinet through various committees which we call cabinet committees, which we are going to talk in next video. Now, role of cabinet, highest decision making body hai cabinet, right? Formulation of policies, as I told you, executive authority, chief coordinator, advisory body to the president, chief crisis manager. Whenever there is an issue, then Prime Minister call up this cabinet. Major legislative and financial matters are being dealt by this cabinet. Control over higher appointments, for example, CAG, UPSC chairman. So wherever you see that, president appoint them. So who advises? This cabinet advises. And there's a specific committee, cabinet committee on appointment. We are going to talk about in next class. It deals with all foreign policies and foreign affairs. Now there's another word, kitchen cabinet. So kitchen cabinet is informal term. For example, sometimes Prime Minister actually have a trust of some 3-4 people. So now these 3-4 people actually regularly interact with Prime Minister. So they cook the agenda, they cook the major decisions, and then these decisions are just presented before cabinet that this has been agreed by Prime Minister, and now you have to act on it, you have to agree on it, right? So in kitchen cabinet, some members can be of the cabinet also, some members can be of outside also. For example, in Rajiv Gandhi's time, it is said that some technocrats were actually part of kitchen cabinet. Sometimes Rajiv Gandhi used to give this priority to these technocrats before these cabinet ministers, right? So what is the benefit of it? Benefit is, since kitchen cabinet is small, informal, so decisions can be taken in swift manner, right? Small body, it can easily be called by Honorable Prime Minister, right? So it is composed not only of cabinet minister but outsiders like friends, family members, they can also be part of kitchen cabinet. So this is not official term, okay? Every Prime Minister in India has had inner cabinet or a circle. Indira Gandhi ji's inner cabinet, Rajiv Gandhi ji's inner cabinet, right? It can meet more often. This is the best part, right? No official intimation is required because you are working as a friend, inner circle, trust circle. By this, PM can maintain secrecy with respect to policies. No need to present officially before whole cabinet or council of ministers. It reduces the authority and status of cabinet. This is the negative point, right? If decisions are taken within the kitchen cabinet and then presented before cabinet just to agree, so this is undermining cabinet. It circumvents legal process, allowing outside persons, right? Outside people can actually engage with Prime Minister and know about important decision making, right? So this phenomena of kitchen cabinet where decisions are cooked and placed before cabinet, as I told you, is not unique in India. It also exists in USA as well as Britain. Now let's attempt these questions. Which of the following are not mentioned in Constitution? Council of Minister, collective responsibility, resignation of Minister, office of Deputy Prime Minister. Tell me. Office of Deputy Prime Minister is not there. I just discussed with you the Devi Lal case, right? Have I mentioned resignation of ministers? No. I use these two words, Article 74-75. It means answer is C, because it is saying are not mentioned. So this is not mentioned and this is not mentioned, right? Now, which of the following is our functions of Cabinet Secretariat? Preparation of agenda for the cabinet meetings, secretarial assistance for the cabinet committees, allocation of financial resources to the ministers. No, this allocation is done by Parliament itself. right, through money bill. So it means these are the two, you can say, functions of Cabinet Secretariat. It means 1 and 2 means third. Okay. Which of the following Amendment Act provided Central Council Minister, including Prime Minister, not to exceed 15% of the total? Now attempt, because this we mentioned in the start itself. Answer is 91st Constitutional Amendment Act. B. The President cannot function without Union Council of Ministers. Solicitor General is the highest legal authority of the Union Government. The Union Council of Ministers can function for some time even after death, resignation of the Prime Minister. In the absence of Prime Minister, only the Home Minister can preside over the emergency meetings of the Union Council of Ministers. And this question is asking which of the following is correct. Now, President cannot function without Union Council of Ministers. It is correct. I told you, 1971, what Supreme Court clarified. Solicitor General is highest legal authority. It is wrong, because Attorney General is the highest legal service authority, right? एक तो होता है गलत, एक सरासर गलत, ये सरासर वाली कैटेगरी हो जाएगी. Union Council of Ministers can function for some time in after death or resignation of Prime Minister. Now, Union Council of Ministers, I mentioned the case, if Union Council of Ministers loses majority in Lok Sabha, then they will work as a caretaker government, right? They will remain there. Supreme Court also clarified. But in this case, we are talking about death and resignation of Prime Minister. And this is saying Union Council of Ministers can function for some time. How can Union Council of Ministers function if Prime Minister died or resigned? This is wrong. In the absence of Prime Minister, only Home Minister can prescribe. This is wrong. In the absence of Prime Minister, then senior most minister can actually, function there. Means Prime Minister can give this charge. Means whenever Prime Minister is out of India and there will be several files, regular files which need to be signed. So at that point of time, a file is moved, and Prime Minister gives certain power, signing power, to a senior most member. That is the discretion of Prime Minister. So it means only one is correct. Only one is correct. Others are all wrong, right? Because AG is the highest. COM dissolves collective responsibility. In the absence of PM, Deputy Prime Minister or senior most member can actually preside over, as Prime Minister can do so. Clear? So I hope now you are clear with the provisions of Council of Ministers. See you in the next video. Till then, keep learning, keep growing. This PDF will be available in Shashank Tyagi for you Telegram group. If you have any doubt, you can shoot me a message on shashank.powerbeing. That is my personal Insta handle. See you.